what this does, though, it all takes me to a study that actually completely debunks Bobby Parrish's perspective. That it debunks this perspective that it is the foods and the toxins, right, and the products that make us sick and unhealthy. So this study that I'm about to share with you is a study on health and longevity that shows that our health and longevity is actually not determined by the foods, the environment, the toxins, or even the exercises we do at all. And this study is fascinating. Make sure you listen up and know that down below there is a link for this study. I did a whole video on this. And before we continue forth, if you are finding value in my channel and this really radical message of healing we are sharing here, make sure you like and subscribe down below so that you can, make sure to be notified of new content that I put out that you are not going to be finding anywhere else. So we're going to be talking now about the Rosetto study. This is the study that debunks Bobby Parrish 100%. And this is a 50-year research study. Started in 1961, they studied the residents of Rosetto, Pennsylvania. And these residents were Italian immigrants who came over in the late 1800s from Rosetto, Italy. And they were studied. Why? Because doctors could not figure out what was going on, what the magic was with these residents. These residents had remarkably, shockingly low heart disease, incredibly low rates of disease in general, very low stress, and very high longevity. They were living very long, very healthy lives. So the doctors and researchers said, okay, what's in the water here in Rosetto? And logically, we would think it has to do with something they're eating, maybe some kind of exercise they're doing, maybe the geographic region of Rosetto, Pennsylvania, or maybe, the genetics of their ancestors back in Italy, all valid thoughts. But what the researchers found in this 50-year study is shocking. And it truly turned what we've been taught, or I like to say brainwashed, about health upside down. So get this is my favorite part. They found, as they studied these members of Rosetto, the men of Rosetto, Pennsylvania, they worked very long hours in slate quarry mines full of toxic gas and dust, being exposed to environmental toxins daily. And so they looked at, well, what did they eat? Get this. The residents of Rosetto, their primary, main food was they were eating meatballs that were fried in pork fat. They ate a lot of pasta, ate bread, drank large amounts of wine, and the men often smoked unfiltered cigars. It wasn't the foods, right? We'll get this about their exercise. They also had no exercise routines. So it baffled researchers. They said, okay, well, what is it? Why were these individuals leading these really long, incredibly healthy lives? Is this nothing that they thought? Well, what they found is fascinating. And what they found that the key to their longevity and their health was actually the social connection that they experienced due to living in this close-knit community of Rosetto. That the close-knit community created high emotional health and low stress. And this is why they were healthy. So what they realized about the community of Rosetto, these Italian immigrants, is that they really were like a big family. Everyone took care of each other. There was oftentimes 3 generations living under the same household. Evenings were spent with family and friends. Everyone had each other's back. There was high community engagement, potlucks, get-togethers. Everything was very well attended. It was, again, a very tight-knit community that created emotional safety, high emotional health. And what this all did is they've later coined it as a phenomenon called the Rosetto effect, and which is when a close-knit community, like I just described, experiences reduced risks of heart disease, has really good physical health, they have low stress, and as a result, they have these extended lifespans. Because they're emotionally healthy, they have low stress, and they feel safe. So right now, I just want to say that, can we see that what the wellness community, especially the alternative health community, have ingrained in us in terms of what creates health and what creates disease is false. That we have been brainwashed to believe that our health and well-being is determined by the foods we eat, the exercises we do, avoiding toxins. Again, this is the Bobby Parrish message. And the truth is actually that chronic illnesses and diseases, they're actually coming from our emotional state, that our body is a reflection of our emotional state, and which is actually how we feel about ourselves. And this was shown to be true based on what happened later to the residents of Roseto and their health. So again, the study was started in 1961, a 50-year study. Over time, what happened is that close-knit community of Roseto, it fell apart, right? The kids didn't want to stay there. They moved out. The social structures began to be weakened and breaking apart. And as a result, the emotional health and safety of the residents decreased, their stress increased, and guess what? And not too long after the breaking apart of the community happened, those residents, their health issues and the rate of heart disease, it began to reflect the same levels as the rest of America. So what the Roseto study shows us is that it is our emotional state, they've called that emotional safety, that it is the determining factor of our health. It truly is the cause and effect. And that our emotional state is not just a component of the of the health puzzle. It truly is the single determinant of our health, right? So it is our emotional state, high stress or low stress, that does determine our health. It isn't all of these other factors that we've been taught. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch today. If you have an autoimmune disease or chronic illness, are frustrated with medications, food diets, or supplements, and are ready to start the journey to finally and permanently healing your condition, I have two 13-week online self-guided educational programs, the Autoimmune Healing Program and the Chronic Illness Healing Program. Both programs teach you how to permanently heal your autoimmune disease or chronic illness, leave behind those doctor's visits and symptom management, and to finally heal without medications, supplements, or food diets. This is the same journey I took and why I am over 11 years completely healed. All 8 of my autoimmune diseases and all of my chronic illnesses are permanently gone. You can find the link to apply for a complimentary course consultation with me down in the description below. And if you're not quite ready to take this step, watch my free 101 course on autoimmune diseases and chronic illnesses. You can also find the link to watch down in the description. And again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch today. I look forward to you permanently healing your autoimmune disease or chronic illness.